I found it confusing about what exactly the SBOE's job is, because I know that like the Texas legislature can pass bills that mandate how education happens in Texas, and the TEA is like the administrative agency that facilitates education that happens in Texas. And so I don't understand how the SBOE really fits into that, and what direct levers of power you would have access to if you were elected to the SBOE. Can you explain that a bit more?
Yeah, so basically the TEA is the governing body. And so that's the one, that's kind of like the enforcement agency, right? So that's the one that would enforce that teachers are administering the STAR test on the dates that they're supposed to, and that they're following all the guidelines. The TEA is also responsible for knowing like if a school is underperforming, and then we've seen those state takeovers, things like that. So they're enforcing basically what the SBOE puts into place with regard to curriculum, if you want to think of it that way. So there's three main jobs of the SBOE. Writing the TEKS, the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, we abbreviate it TEKS, and that's what every student in each grade and each subject is required to learn. So for example, when I taught ninth grade English, I paid attention to the English 1 TEKS. So writing the TEKS, and then drafting them, revising them as that comes up. Adopting textbooks. Now, if the SBOE adopts a textbook or chooses to adopt a textbook, then what that means is not that school districts have to choose that textbook, but they are allowed to with public funds. So basically, they approve textbooks, and then schools, individual districts decide which they want to choose from what is approved, if that makes sense. So writing the TEKS, adopting textbooks, and then the third thing is the permanent school fund, which gets a little tricky with regard to what is allowed to be used there versus, because a lot of school budgeting things comes from the Texas legislature. So there's some overlap there. There's a lot of working alongside the Texas legislature. And then a lot of the SBOE also is a platform for advocating for educational issues. So when it is an issue that is in the Texas legislature, then the SBOE has a voice. Like, for example, the 10 Commandments in classrooms. That was passed by the Texas legislature, SB 10.
Right.
But the board members that oppose it, because it is an educational related issue, could like put out a statement saying we oppose this. So it kind of carries some weight,
authority,
some voice.
Yeah. You have power and influence, maybe not direct, control over what kind of legislation is passed in the legislature, but your voice is listened to and respected because you are on the SBOE. That makes sense.
It becomes a platform, essentially. Yeah.